From this moment, everything changes. America is legalizing cryptocurrencies, China is surprising everyone, and Bitcoin is taking off. What is this? Is it the start of a new rally or a trap for investors? We are at a turning point, and what happens now will have a global impact on all markets. Today we'll break down who and what is behind this, and where the price might go in the near future. We've decided to make a small adjustment to our contest. Starting with this video, comments will be accepted until Monday at 23:59 European time. And this will apply to all subsequent videos until we possibly announce a stop to this contest. So, take part. It's better to leave your comment right away than to try to write it at the very end after checking the price. Let's play by the rules that you yourselves suggest to us. So, good luck with these slightly revised new rules. Now, go ahead and participate. So, at the time of recording this video, the price is $118,630. And today's winner is comment number 2, Cult of Devil. The price of $118,700 was the closest guess we had among all the comments. So congratulations, please contact our technical support team and they will definitely send you your prize. Take part and maybe in the next video you will be the winner. China has shown GDP growth that no one expected, plus 2.5% in the second quarter, which is significantly above expectations. Of course, this boosts investor confidence in emerging markets and has a positive impact on both stock and cryptocurrency markets. This means that the global economy is not slowing down yet, it is doing well, and the demand for investment remains quite high, especially when it comes to crypto assets. The American indices S&P 500 and Nasdaq continue their dynamic growth. From this, we can conclude that traditional markets are also doing very well. The level of fear is decreasing and interest in investing is growing. The regulatory revolution in the US, Crypto Week, especially regarding high-yield instruments such as crypto assets, from the 14th of July to 18th, important discussions took place in the US Congress, resulting in the adoption of 3 key laws. Law number 1. Genius. Stablecoins are now required to have reserves in dollars and short-term government bonds. Mandatory public reporting on reserves is being introduced. What does this mean? It brings trust from banks and, of course, major investors. It also creates conditions for the emergence of stable and secure coins. For the first time, the US financial system is incorporating crypto instruments. Law number 2. Clarity. About the transparency of crypto assets. Clear criteria are established to determine when a cryptocurrency is not considered a security. Why is this important? It protects many crypto projects from prosecution by the Securities Commission and creates a green corridor for the development of this sector. Law number 3. Anti-CBDC. A law against the digital dollar. It prohibits the Federal Reserve from issuing its own digital currency, which is very good. Therefore, the priority remains with decentralized assets and private stablecoins rather than state-controlled digital money. On the 18th of July, Donald Trump signed the Genius Act. This is a historic step that launches an institutional wave into the cryptocurrency market. Now banks and funds can enter the cryptocurrency market calmly and with confidence. And these are enormous amounts of capital. Now they can legally invest and conduct transactions with stablecoins, that is, with chain coins. It's like the launch of the internet for finance, an entirely new stage of trust in the cryptocurrency market. Meanwhile, Ethereum and altcoins are under pressure. On the 23rd of July 2025, that is this week, $442 million worth of Ethereum will be unlocked. This means that there may be a temporary pressure on the market. Tokens are being unlocked, making them available for sale. Very often, token unlocks trigger a decline in the asset. If we add some negative news background, Ethereum could correct much more deeply. But we'll be watching to see how it plays out more clearly on our charts. But these are just temporary, local pullbacks. Now, let's move on to a detailed analysis of the cryptocurrency market, this time from the perspective of charts and technical analysis. A breather before the bull run. Let's go, as they say, for our city folks. We start our review, as usual, with the Bitfinex exchange monthly time frame. So far, nothing has changed on the monthly chart. There you go. Let's open the weekly time frame. Let's see what we have here on the weekly chart. Well, the week showed a rather questionable candle, but I'd say this candle closed quite well. That's why you shouldn't pay attention to it. Here, it could simply be an overlap of this volume and a further continuation of growth. Well, let's see how much volume was actually dumped. About 3.5%. This is a very small amount, not worth paying attention to. Here you can see on the chart that there might be a corrective move, possibly even going as far as down to about 112 or possibly even $110,000 for Bitcoin. Why am I saying this? Because I see that we have a drawn divergence. And as long as Bitcoin doesn't break higher, the price could accordingly move lower and correct, working out the divergence that has appeared. Of course, we have a strong key level at $100, $100,000, yes. Roughly in this range, 100 to 101. But it's very unlikely that the price will come down here, because on the weekly time frame, everything looks very, very strong. And on the daily time frame, yes, it's possible there will be a correction. This correction might contribute to further capital flowing from Bitcoin into other altcoins, since Bitcoin is already at quite high levels. And usually, funds move from Bitcoin into other coins. And that's when the so-called alt season begins. That's why today Bitcoin holds the lion's share of the market. And it would be good if some capital started flowing into altcoins, then they would start to take off. Those are my thoughts on Bitcoin. Overall, they remain the same. Yes, we have key levels. The key levels are above $100,000. The magnet is at $100,000 to $155,000. Everything below $100,000 has the potential to be drawn toward the $70,000 zone. So for now, the outlook is positive. There may be a slowdown in sharp movements for Bitcoin, but this will give more momentum to altcoins. For those of you who have taken our course, we've talked to you about this, yes, how this market works. When Bitcoin is in a sideways trend, meaning the price is moving with only small fluctuations, that's when altcoins start to surge. When Bitcoin begins to grow rapidly, all the altcoins tend to drop. When Bitcoin falls quickly, altcoins drop twice as fast. But when Bitcoin is growing slowly and steadily, altcoins absolutely skyrocket. This is important to keep in mind, and it's also crucial to monitor this. If you're trading in the market, yes, pay attention to this. Well, that's all I have for Bitcoin. I've marked the key levels. Now let's move on to Ethereum. A sip before the bull run. Let's also look at the monthly time frame for Ethereum. Personally, I see a pennant forming here. It might be a bit lopsided, yes, but overall this entire range has served as an accumulation zone. Here we've reached a level that was actually the peak back in 2017, which is basically where Ethereum's movement started on the Binance exchange. That's because we're looking specifically at Binance charts right now. And this is already a strong level around $1,000, $1,050. And here we already started to see the formation of a position build-up, the formation of either a triangle or a huge pennant on the monthly time frame. I believe that it will be broken, and broken very quickly, right? This won't drag on for long. As soon as Ethereum breaks out, especially above $4,800, surpassing the previous high, here a huge channel opens up in the price movement, and after $4,900, Ethereum will shoot up very quickly, roughly into the $7,200 range. Then, after breaking through $7,200, there's another massive channel where the targets are already around $11,000. And right here, around $15,000 to $17,000, I believe that's where the peaks will be. At least, that's what can be seen right now from a technical analysis perspective. Let me remind you that technical analysis works for us, but it doesn't work, or rather, it stops working when there are major news events, right? If the cryptocurrency market is pushed more globally, if cryptocurrencies are promoted and integrated into our lives and the lives of many countries, they will be adopted on an even broader scale. Of course, now, especially with the arrival of institutional investors, demand can skyrocket very dynamically. And the figures I'm showing you might not correspond to the actual numbers at all, right? That is, they could be much higher, much higher. It's just simple math. The numbers for the cryptocurrency market today, by the way, the cryptocurrency market is about $4 trillion. So, about $1 trillion has already been pumped into the market since our previous episode, or rather, several of our previous episodes, right? and that's very good. But it's still just a tiny fraction of the total global money supply. And as we all perfectly understand and know, the entire global economy, all the world's finances, are moving into digital. If you are in this market, if you are in the cryptocurrency market, the most successful strategy is to accumulate Ethereum, Bitcoin, and BNB. If you also have the opportunity to multiply them, that's absolutely fantastic. Don't try to play a trading, because you'll just lose money. Trading is a game of probability, and it's a separate profession that you need to master. Even after 9 years in the market, I still don't have all successful trades to this day. Of course, there are losses as well. So if you still choose to make money in this market, the best strategy is to accumulate. It's better to study trading on the side, but don't apply it to your long-term investment strategy. It's better to save or entrust these to professionals. So basically, these are the key levels for Ethereum. Let's switch to a smaller time frame and see what we have here. Basically, we have a channel here. Ethereum can also dip based on the news I mentioned to you earlier. But if it does drop, the maximum would probably be down to around $3,350. Yes, that's the movement I see. Of course, if the price consolidates below $3,350, which I don't see happening right now, right? But again, trading is a game of probabilities. So there is still a chance, but for me personally, it's very small. If that happens, the next level would be around the $2,850 USDT zone. Right now, a correction is possible, I think, somewhere around the $3,500 zone, roughly here. And then there will be a squeeze towards the level of around $4,000, followed by a very dynamic move, in my opinion, towards $4,800. So what we're seeing now, what we're focusing on, is that every correction is an opportunity to buy, because it's clear that the market is coming back to life and is ready to surge and push even higher. Well, those are my overall thoughts on Ethereum. Now, let's also take a look at Ethereum to Bitcoin and check out the monthly time frame as well. On the monthly time frame, as expected, you can see that this candle is quite short, kind of uncertain, yes, that's actually what it's called. An uncertain candle, a candle of doubt when the asset tries to move up and down, but ends up closing more or less at the same levels. Accordingly, we then had a dynamic candle, especially since there was massive oversold pressure here on the monthly time frame. That's it. And the market is moving toward its next critical points where something will be decided, right? Ethereum still has about 40, maybe even 45% potential growth against Bitcoin in terms of the ETH-BTC ratio. And after that, we'll see what happens. But I think it will break through this trend line, maybe not on the first try, and then it will move up, flying to new highs. And as for the new highs, let's just estimate them on the chart. How much is that? Well, new highs would be about 4, maybe even 5 times higher. So the numbers I mentioned to you earlier will match up even if Bitcoin reaches these levels or those levels. After that, there will be a range of fluctuation corridor, yes, a period of position accumulation, and then the price could take off even further. So I have similar thoughts about Ethereum compared to Bitcoin. A breather before the bull run. Now let's look at BNB. Today is a significant day for BNB, all-time high. That is, today it's reached a new historical maximum. And as I mentioned in many of our previous episodes, BNB has formed a bullish flag on the monthly time frame. This is critically important. Again, if you've taken our training, you can leave a comment to confirm what I'm saying, right? How critically important higher time frames are, especially the patterns and formations that play out there. And right now, we can see a good start to the realization of this bullish flag. And according to technical analysis, this bullish flag should ideally play out to at least $2,000 and possibly even up to $2,300. This is the first such large, strong move for BNB. And that's a growth of about another 150 to even 200% from these levels. That's a very good indicator for a strong, solid asset, especially if you're multiplying this asset in a fund in dollar terms, just multiply it by 3 or 4 times. If the price goes up by 200%, that means you've made 400% in dollar terms, roughly. The level you need to watch is around 1,000, maybe a little more dollars. After breaking through $1,000, the next mark is somewhere around $1,500. And from there, we'll be looking at around $2,000. And give or take, a correction might follow at that point. But before that, we have a strong level that was tested around $700 for a long time. And now, yes, movements are possible. Maybe there will be another test of the $700 level, but most likely the price will shoot up very dynamically into the $1,000 zone. And after consolidating, we soar even higher towards $1,500. The market looks great. Now let's take a look at BNB to Bitcoin. BNB to Bitcoin is at its kind of bottom point, right? Here we have the level of 0.006. Binance Coin to Bitcoin. Man, it's confusing with all these coins. BNB to Bitcoin looks positive right now because it touched its bottom point, the one that was formed in 2023. And this is already a level that you can actually mark. It's quite an important level now. And right now, Binance Coin is bouncing off this level successfully and will likely continue moving upward. There's a possibility of a double bottom forming here, right? After breaking through 0.0095, there will likely be a move, possibly confirming the double bottom, and the double bottom could send the price. Let's just take a look. Well, yes, it could reach about these levels, and that means Binance Coin will outperform Bitcoin by about 120% during this growth. That's why it's altcoin season right now. Maybe the alt season has already started for us. By the way, leave your comments about what you think regarding the alt season. Has it already started? Not yet? Or is it already over? A breather before the bull run. I also wanted to comment on Solana. Solana is coming up to test this line that we marked, right? And right now it's also approaching the level of about $205 to $210. If Solana manages to hold above $210, there's potential for growth up to around $265. After holding above $265, we have a good range all the way up to about $420. But as long as Solana doesn't break through this level, it could still indicate further decline. Although the market is currently dynamic and showing only positive signals, it's possible there won't be a drop at all. In other words, this correction in the bull market might already be over. Well, I want to thank you all for your attention. Give us a thumbs up. Your support is very important to us. We want to get some feedback on the work we're doing, right? We hope these episodes are useful to you. Maybe even some positivity, especially in your crypto wallet. Thank you once again for your attention. See you next time. Goodbye. I waved my hand the wrong way. See you next time. Goodbye, like this.